5 reasons never to have a boyfriend. Hear this before it's too late. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm David. In today's video, I want to share 5 reasons why many women over 60 choose not to have a boyfriend. Not because they are bitter or closed off, but because they have learned to value their own peace. Issue: after decades of loving, caring, and carrying responsibility, life at this stage is no longer an empty space that needs to be filled. It is a rhythm paid for with time and loss, and not everyone is willing to trade that rhythm just to satisfy an old social belief that happiness must come with someone by your side. If you are looking for mature, grounded perspectives on love, dating, and marriage after 60, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me for more honest and respectful conversations. Now let's begin with the first reason, the reason that leads many women to realize that freedom is not something easily found a second time. The issue: reason 1. A new relationship after 60 can take away the peace you already have. I'll say this honestly. After 60, the most precious thing for many women is not being loved one more time, but being at peace in their own home, at peace with their own schedule, at peace in the feeling of no longer having to hold someone up, carry someone, issue, or read another person's emotions just to keep the day running smoothly. The issue: for most of their lives, women have lived as caretakers, caring for family, husbands, children, and later aging parents. And the deepest exhaustion never came from the visible task, but from the mental load for remembering everything, organizing everything, keeping everyone okay, so nothing would fall apart. It is only after 60 that many women, for the first time in their lives, get to breathe as a whole human being. Then a new relationship appears, not because the man is bad, and not because he demands anything, but simply because he steps into that rhythm, and the rhythm begins to change. You adjust meals to his taste, weekends to his schedule, daily conversations to his concerns. Issue: and at some point you realize you are slowly walking back to the very place you worked so hard to leave. I have seen many women lose their freedom, not because of one big event, but because of small changes repeated day after day. Changes so subtle they can't even name them, until the peace is gone. And peace rarely leaves loudly. It leaves through exhaustion. Peace is an achievement, not something to gamble with. And in the next reason, we'll look at another truth that is even more practical. Why dating after 60 can sometimes feel like stepping into a minefield you never wanted to walk through again. Reason 2. The dating market after 60 is full of risk and can be deeply exhausting. I'm not saying this to be pessimistic, but to be realistic. After 60, the dating pool for women feels more like a minefield than a garden. Not because all men are bad, but because the odds are no longer as high as you might think. You meet men who have never married, and often behind that are deep issues they have carried their entire lives, things that are not easy to change. Issue: you meet divorced men, many of whom never truly matured, looking for a new mother rather than a partner, or men who are very good at love bombing in the beginning, only to disappear once familiarity sets in. There are widowers who still live in old memories, unconsciously comparing you to a ghost, or looking for someone to fill a space rather than to meet you as a new person. There are men who carry health problems with them, and along with that, a greater need to be cared for than to truly share life. The issue: some once dated much younger women, and when their options run out they turn to women their own age simply because there is no other path left. And it is not uncommon to encounter men with low emotional intelligence, addictions, or unresolved tendencies toward abuse. Even when you do meet a rare good man, you still have to compete. And often, he will choose someone younger. Dating after 60 can consume energy like a full-time job, while what you receive in return is often not proportional to the effort you invest. He is becoming entangled in money and financial responsibility truly safe at this stage of life. To understand this more clearly, let's move on to the third reason and take a closer look at that reality together. Reason 3. Money after 60 can easily pull you into unwanted ties. This is the part many people don't like to hear, but at this age, the truth needs to be said plainly. Women over 60, especially those who are financially stable, can easily become targets. Not necessarily because someone is bad from the beginning, but because circumstances make them seem convenient for others to lean on. Things rarely start with a big intention. They usually unfold through very small, very familiar steps. It often begins with seemingly harmless questions about your home, your savings, your pension. Then come the stories of hardship, the difficult circumstances. After that, there are the small requests to get through a tough moment, followed by bigger requests, justified by unavoidable reasons. The issue once dependence has formed. Suggestions of living together or marriage appear, and from there access to your assets becomes legalized in a way that feels reasonable and proper. Even without deliberate manipulation, financial entanglement still carries very real risks, rising medical costs, responsibilities related to his children. The issue after 60, you no longer have much time to correct serious financial mistakes, and the money you have needs to be bronized for your later years, for long-term care and for your own sense of security. The issue: do you choose to keep control of your finances or trade it for a late-life relationship? Share your thoughts and the reasons for your choice in the comments below. And in the next reason, we'll talk about a more subtle kind of loss, how late-life relationships can slowly pull you away from the person you've only just rediscovered. Reason 4. A new relationship can easily cause you to lose yourself. After 60, many women, for the first time in their lives, truly know who they are. They understand which rhythm of life allows them to breathe, what makes them feel safe, which boundaries cannot be crossed, which interests nourish their spirit. This is not selfishness but clarity that comes from having lived a full life. But every relationship requires adjustment, and women from a very early age have been taught by society to yield, to endure, and to please others. So changes that seem very small begin to appear. Eating according to someone else's schedule, watching things they don't enjoy, rearranging social connections, bending their own way of living just to keep things smooth. There are no big decisions here, only small compromises, repeated over and over again. The problem is that these compromises accumulate, and little by little you realize you are drifting away from the authentic version of yourself that you worked so hard to reclaim, not because anyone forces you, but because the habit of making yourself smaller has become familiar. There is one truth you need to understand clearly. You have compromised enough for an entire lifetime. After 60, you are no longer obligated to bend yourself to fit anyone else. Holding on to who you are at this stage is not stubbornness. It is self-respect. And in the final reason that follows, I am certain that 90% of women will nod in agreement, because it speaks directly to the most precious thing you have left: time. The final reason: time is finite. Don't spend the rest of your life on an ordinary relationship. At this stage of life, there is one truth that cannot be avoided. You will age, you will grow weaker, and one day you will leave this world. And when you look directly at that truth, you begin to understand why time becomes the most precious asset you have left. Not money, not love, but each day, each hour you still get to live on your own terms. Think about it simply. A relationship, even one that isn't especially complicated, can easily take up 10 to 20 hours every week. That includes time spent meeting, long conversations, working through misunderstandings, moments of tension, and the emotion. If truly enriches your life, it may be worth it. But the reality is that most relationships after 60 remain average, even draining, costing you more energy through stress and emotional fatigue. Meanwhile, the time you still have can be invested in things that are deeper and more meaningful. Caring for your health, learning what interests you, traveling to places you've never been, creating, building community, or simply being fully present with friends, grandchildren, and yourself. Peace at this stage of life is a choice, and that is the final question I want you to carry with you. How do you want to spend the rest of your life? fulfilling obligations, or truly living for yourself. As we come to the end of this conversation, what matters most is not how many reasons you remember, but the feeling that is settling within you right now. It may be a sense of relief in realizing that you were never wrong for wanting a peaceful life, or a quiet sadness as you think about the years spent putting others before yourself. And it may also be a calm clarity. After 60, you no longer need to explain or justify the way you choose to live. The 5 points we've just shared are not meant to reject love. They simply remind us that at this stage of life, peace, time, and the feeling of being truly yourself have become values not meant to be traded lightly. If today you choose to be on your own, let it be a complete and fulfilling choice. And I'm David. Thanks for watching my video till now, and see you next time.